Yeah, Jane, it was tough. It was very, very tough, and I think that like this saying of being comfortable with the uncomfortable and comfortable with chaos, and my life was just like a journey of self-destruct. And like most people in the work that I do now, like most addictions stem from an incident or trauma or patterns, or maybe even becoming products of our environment, particularly here in West Belfast where some areas are so depraved. And I probably met a couple of those categories, especially the trauma bit, and probably carried that with me throughout my childhood. And then whenever I discovered drink, and especially cocaine, my life then spiraled out of control, where I found comfort in that, I found an escape in it, and it got so much that I was dependent on it and I couldn't live without it. And like, done a lot of travelling, a lot of jumping on planes and thinking that the grass was going to be greener on the other side, and kind of living up off a reputation that I was sort of still half good at hurling and football. But yeah, it was very, very tough, and ultimately ended up homeless and not having a way out, I thought. And I think that even, you know, jumping from friend groups to friend groups and spent another time, like all my time basically, either on my own in the corner of a pub or else with other alcoholics, like totally like disregarded anyone who ever loved me or ever sort of was there for me, and always thought that they had the problem and I didn't have the problem. So it was very, very tough, and ultimately ended up I just didn't want to be alive anymore. But whenever there's a wee bit of hope, you always have something to, you know, look forward to. And me asking for help was the best thing that I ever done in my life, but it wasn't as simple as just like, you know, going to an AA meeting and saying, right, that's me better again. It was like lots of tries and falls, and a lot of unhappy scenes, particularly in like people who love me, like upsetting emmons and family and partners and whoever. Like it was so difficult. But I knew that for me, if I was going to get better, Jane, I had to be honest. You know, like from sitting in the corner of a bed in England, you know, with a full bottle of whiskey and wiping out the whole medicine cupboard and taking them and being like, I hope to God whenever I take this that I never wake up again, to going, you know what, if I actually want to have a chance at life here, I need to be honest. I need to speak my truth. And I'm a big advocate for people speaking their truth, and I work a lot with young people now, talking about speaking the truth and being true to themselves and not comparing themselves to other people. And I think we live in a world where we're always looking outside for validation instead of trying to maybe validate ourselves, and that kind of starts with respecting ourselves. And for me to have respect for myself, I needed to make the right steps to then ask for help. And it was probably then whenever I realised that, you know what, I could make something of this and actually help people and turn my life around and show people, not tell people, because it's easy to stand and tell people and say this is what you do to get off the drink or drugs or do this and do that, but try to be some sort of an example to maybe young people in this area who are getting it tight, that there is a way out through being open and honest, and also vulnerable, because there's, in my opinion, the strength and vulnerability. We don't need to have hard men anymore in West Belfast. We don't need to, you know, act hard and do this or fit into certain agendas and or different whatever political groups. And I think it's only fitting that we're maybe here on the Peaceful, that all these things are, you know, things of the past, and we don't need to grow up and say nothing, because maybe that's the way my parents were brought up. And we're allowed to speak, and we're allowed to speak our truth, and we're allowed to speak how we're really feeling. And I'm a massive advocate for that, like, and that makes me proud too.